Hello, and welcome. Welcome to 20 Minutes with Jesus. Before we look ahead, let us pause for a moment and gently look back. Not with regret, not with heaviness, but with honesty and grace. Every journey carries steps that were easy and steps that were hard, and both matter. Looking back does not mean living in the past. It means acknowledging where we have been and recognizing how God has carried us through. There were moments of strength and moments of weakness, moments when faith felt alive and moments when it felt quiet. There were seasons of clarity and seasons of confusion. And yet, through all of it, you are still here, still believing, still breathing, still hoping, even if quietly. This alone tells a story of faith. You did not arrive here by accident. You did not survive by your own strength. There were days when you did not know how you would keep going, but somehow you did. There were moments when prayers felt unanswered, but your heart did not completely turn away. God was present even then, especially then. Looking back with grace allows us to release unnecessary guilt. Some paths took longer than expected. Some choices did not unfold the way we hoped. Some seasons felt like delays instead of progress. But delay is not failure, and struggle is not disobedience. God has never required perfection from you, only trust, even when it was fragile. Many people carry quiet regret about the past year or the past season, believing they should have been stronger, wiser, or more faithful. But God does not measure your journey the way you do. He sees perseverance where you see weakness. He sees faith where you see fatigue. Nothing was wasted, not the waiting, not the tears, not the questions, not even the moments you felt lost. God has a way of redeeming paths that felt uncertain at the time. What felt confusing then often becomes meaningful later. And even when it does not fully make sense, it is still held in His care. As we begin this special moment together, allow yourself to release harsh judgments about your past. You do not need to relive every mistake or reevaluate every decision. God is not asking you to go back. He is simply inviting you to acknowledge how far you have come. You are here because grace carried you. You are standing because mercy sustained you. You are still believing because God remained faithful. Looking back without regret prepares the heart to move forward without fear. And as we continue this episode 100, we will not rush ahead. We will walk gently, honoring the past, trusting the present, and placing the future where it belongs, in God's hands. As we turn our hearts toward what lies ahead, it is important to be honest. The future often awakens emotions we do not easily name. Hope may be present, but so is fear. Expectation may rise, but uncertainty quietly follows. And many people feel ashamed for being afraid of what is coming next. But fear does not mean a lack of faith. It means you care. The future feels heavy because it is unknown. You do not yet see the outcomes. You do not know how things will unfold. You do not know what will be required of you. And in that space of not knowing, the heart naturally feels vulnerable. God is not offended by this vulnerability. He knows how fragile the future can feel to the human heart. He understands the fear of making wrong choices, the fear of repeating old patterns, the fear of disappointment, and the fear of loss. These fears do not make you weak. They make you human. Many people carry silent anxiety about what is coming. Will I be strong enough? Will I make the right decisions? Will God still be with me if things go wrong? These questions are often unspoken but deeply felt. And God does not ask you to ignore them or pretend they are not there. He invites you to bring them into His presence gently, without judgment. Fear becomes dangerous only when it is hidden. When fear is acknowledged, it can be healed. When fear is named, it can be surrendered. When fear is brought to God, it loses its power to control. God never asked you to face the future alone. He never intended you to carry the weight of tomorrow by yourself. The future feels frightening when the heart believes it must manage outcomes, protect itself, and anticipate everything ahead. But that was never your assignment. God does not promise a future without challenges, but He promises His presence within every season. The assurance is not that nothing difficult will happen. It is that you will not walk through anything alone. Acknowledging fear does not weaken faith. It clarifies where trust is needed. When the heart admits fear, it creates space for surrender. It stops pretending control is possible and begins to recognize dependence. This recognition is the doorway to peace. As this episode continues, allow yourself to be honest about what the future awakens in you. You do not need to explain it. You do not need to justify it. You simply need to bring it. God meets honesty with grace. The future does not need to be understood today. It does not need to be solved today. It only needs to be entrusted. And as we move forward together, we will not rush this process. We will gently place what feels heavy where it belongs. Not in your hands, but in God's. There comes a moment in the journey of faith when the heart realizes it cannot carry the future anymore. Not because it stopped believing, but because it has carried hope, expectation, fear, and responsibility for too long. This moment is not a failure. It is an invitation to place the future where it belongs. The future was never meant to rest in human hands. Hands grow tired, minds become overwhelmed, hearts become anxious. We try to hold tomorrow by planning, anticipating, and preparing for every possibility. But the more tightly we hold it, the heavier it becomes. God invites us to loosen our grip. Placing the future in God's hands does not mean giving up responsibility. It means releasing control. It means trusting that the one who holds tomorrow is more capable, more faithful, and more attentive than we could ever be. God's hands are not careless. They are hands that create, hands that sustain, hands that heal, hands that guide. The future is not shaped by chance. It is not formed by accident or improvisation. It is shaped by the hands of a God who sees the end from the beginning and remains present in every moment in between. While the heart worries about what might happen, God is already at work. He is not rushing. He is not confused. He is not reacting. God works quietly, intentionally, and lovingly. Much of what He prepares cannot be seen immediately. The future is often formed in silence, in hidden places, and through processes we do not fully understand. This is why trust feels difficult. Trust requires surrender without explanation. Trust requires rest without certainty. Trust requires faith without guarantees. But trust also brings peace. When the future is placed in God's hands, the heart no longer has to predict outcomes. It no longer has to manage every detail or protect itself from every possible disappointment. The burden shifts. What felt overwhelming becomes lighter. Not because the future changed, but because the heart released it. Placing the future in God's hands also means trusting His timing. The heart often wants answers now. God often works through process. There are adjustments that take time, healing that unfolds slowly, preparation that cannot be rushed. God does not delay because He is indifferent. He waits because He is wise. His timing is part of His care. Some processes hurt because they reshape us. They stretch faith. They refine motives. They realign desires. But these processes are not punishment. They are the work of a perfect craftsman. God shapes the future by shaping the heart first. What He forms within you now will support what He places before you later. The future does not need to be feared when it is held by God. Even uncertainty becomes safer in His hands. Even unanswered questions lose their power. Even difficult paths become walkable. Placing the future in God's hands also frees the present. When tomorrow is surrendered, today becomes lighter. You can breathe again. You can be present again. You can walk faithfully without carrying the weight of what has not yet happened. This is the freedom of surrender. Not the absence of responsibility, but the presence of trust. Not the loss of direction, but alignment with God's leading. Not passivity, but peace. If your heart feels tired of worrying about what comes next, hear this gently. You were never meant to carry tomorrow alone. God does not ask you to understand the future. He asks you to trust Him with it. And when you place the future in God's hands, you are not losing anything. You are gaining rest. You are gaining peace. You are gaining the assurance that whatever comes, you will not face it alone. The future is not fragile in God's hands. It is safe. It is purposeful. It is held. And as this episode 100 continues, allow your heart to rest in this truth. The same God who carried you through the past is already holding what lies ahead. Surrendering the future is not a single decision. It is a posture the heart learns over time. Some days, surrender feels natural. On other days, fear quietly returns, and the hands tighten again around tomorrow. God understands this rhythm. He does not demand perfect surrender. He invites repeated trust. Each time you place the future back into God's hands, something within you softens. The need to control begins to loosen. The pressure to have everything figured out begins to fade. The fear of making the wrong move loses its grip. God does not ask you to surrender the future because He wants to take something from you. He asks because He wants to carry what is too heavy for you. His hands were never meant to replace yours. They were meant to support them. Placing the future in God's hands also means trusting His wisdom over your understanding. There will be moments when God's path does not make immediate sense, when doors close unexpectedly, when plans change, when progress feels slower than promised. In those moments, surrender becomes an act of faith, not emotion. Faith says, I do not see it yet, but I trust you. Faith says, I do not understand this season, but I believe you are good. Faith says, I release my timeline and accept your care. God's wisdom is steady even when circumstances feel unstable. He sees connections you cannot see. He knows outcomes you cannot predict. What feels like delay to you may be protection. What feels like loss may be redirection. What feels like uncertainty may be preparation. The future is not shaped by your ability to foresee it. It is shaped by God's faithfulness. Placing the future in God's hands also requires trusting His character when emotions fluctuate. Some days, faith feels strong. Other days, fear feels louder. God is not intimidated by emotional shifts. He does not withdraw when confidence fades. He remains present, holding the future securely even when the heart feels unsure. God's hands do not tremble. They are not influenced by your anxiety. They are not weakened by your doubts. They are not distracted by your questions. This is why surrender brings rest. When the heart realizes that the future is not fragile in God's hands, it no longer needs to brace itself constantly. Peace begins to settle, not because everything is clear, but because God is trusted. Placing the future in God's hands also reshapes hope. Hope no longer depends on specific outcomes. Hope becomes rooted in God's presence. Hope becomes flexible, resilient, and steady. This kind of hope does not collapse when plans change. It adapts. It trusts that God remains faithful even when the path looks different than expected. As you consider what lies ahead, the unknowns, the questions, the quiet fears, allow yourself to release them again. You do not need to do this perfectly. You only need to do it honestly. God receives honest surrender, and as you place the future into His hands, something sacred happens. The heart finds rest. The mind grows quieter. The soul remembers that it is not alone in what is coming. The future does not belong to fear. It does not belong to uncertainty. It belongs to God, and in His hands, it is being shaped with intention, care, and love, even now. A prayer of surrender for what is coming, God. We come before You with open hands. Hands that have tried to hold tomorrow. Hands that have grown tired from carrying what we were never meant to control. Today, we choose to release the future into Your care. You see everything that lies ahead, what excites us and what frightens us. You know the plans we have made, the expectations we carry, and the fears we rarely speak out loud. Nothing about our future is hidden from You, and still, You invite us to trust You. So we come honestly. We surrender the parts of the future we understand, and we surrender the parts we do not. God, we release the pressure to have everything figured out. We lay down the need for certainty, clarity, and guarantees. Forgive us for believing that peace depended on our ability to plan well or anticipate every outcome. Teach us to rest in the truth that You are already present in what we are worried about. We place our unanswered questions in Your hands. The decisions we have not yet made, the paths that feel unclear, the seasons that feel uncertain. We trust that You are not confused by what confuses us, that You are not anxious about what makes us anxious, that You are not overwhelmed by what feels heavy to us. Your wisdom is steady, Your timing is intentional, Your care is complete. God, help us release fear. Fear of making the wrong choice, fear of repeating past mistakes, fear of disappointment, fear of loss. We acknowledge these fears without shame and place them gently before You. We ask You to replace fear with trust, not all at once, but little by little, as our hearts learn to rest again. We surrender our timelines to You. Teach us to trust Your pace. When we are tempted to rush, remind us that You are not late. When we are tempted to give up, remind us that You are still working. Let patience grow where urgency once lived. God, we ask You to shape our future according to Your will, not just our desires. Align our hearts with what You are forming. Close doors that would harm us. Open doors that will lead us closer to You. And when the way forward feels quiet, teach us to trust Your presence more than our understanding. We place our families in Your hands. Our work, our health, our dreams, our unknowns. We trust that You are a faithful keeper, that You hold tomorrow with the same love You have shown us in the past. The same hands that carried us through difficult seasons are already holding what comes next. God, we choose surrender today. Not because everything is clear, not because the future feels safe, but because You are good. We release control. We receive peace. We rest in Your care. Thank You for being a God who goes before us. Thank You for walking with us in the present. Thank You for holding the future with intention, wisdom, and love. We place everything that is coming into Your hands, trusting that whatever awaits us, we will not face it alone. As we close this moment, take a quiet breath and let your heart rest. You do not need to carry tomorrow. The future is not asking for your strength. It is already being held by God. Walk forward with peace. Rest in trust. And remember, the same hands that carried you here are holding what comes next. May your heart remain calm. May your faith stay steady. And may you continue your journey knowing that your future is safe in God's hands.